It's uncompromising, addictive, and often unforgiving. With an adrenaline rush like no other. There's no practice, no second chances. It's the ultimate motorsport competition on gravel. It is rally, and this is the East Coast Bullbars Australian Rally Championship. Despite a brilliant performance in the opening round Armour All Power stage, Eli Evans couldn't quite grab top spot, pushing the borrowed VW Polo to the limit and paying the ultimate price. He and Glenn Weston forced to miss their first heat in 2.5 years. Brendan Reeves and Rhiannon Gelsomino showed they were the form team, clean sweeping the entire weekend in the Rally School Mazda 2. The rear beam in the Walkinshaw Performance Renault collapsed and looked to wipe out Scott Pedder's chances. But he and Dale Moscott were back in the game after a huge effort from rival team service crews. In the end, they salvaged good points from the round. Fuel level issues was all that stopped the podium for both cars in the Citroën team, but Adrian Coppen placed his DS3 third on debut. The weekend for VWs was not great. Michael Bowden bowed out when the enforced fuel restrictor caused the engine to overheat, and he retreated to Warhope to reconsider his position. The Repco Polo made the finish, but the reduced horsepower meant Mick Patton was languishing down the leaderboard. Still, with plenty of carnage around him, he salvaged championship points to carry forward. Steve Mackenzie's light was shining. He and younger brother Brent pushed their Ford Fiesta past its limit to be matching more fancy times. But the drivetrain in the Fiesta packed it in, and they fell short of the podium. Alan Rowe's debut of the Ford Focus got better as the weekend wore on, and by the end of the round he was showing glimpses of what might be expected in the future. So Brendan Reeves is on top as we get set for a two-way battle in WA. Adrian Coppen will be looking to consolidate his third position, and with Steve Mackenzie sitting out this round to put the finishing touches on his new Fiesta, it will be Mick Patton who will challenge Coppen. Teams have assembled in the picturesque Geograph Bay, 2 hours south of the capital of Western Australia, in Busselton, for the second round. With Eli Evans still waiting on an engine for his Honda Civic, this weekend will be Mazda versus Renault. Brendan Reeves and Rhiannon Gelsomino took maximum points from round one and will be looking to extend that advantage this weekend in their quest for a first championship title. Scott Pedder and Dale Moscott, on the other hand, will be looking to stop that march if they are to secure their first title. Adrian Coppen will struggle to match Pedder in outright speed this weekend. He and Tim Batten will be focusing on keeping Citroën in contention as they get themselves up to speed in their inaugural season. Scott Pedder was quick in the Armour All Power stage, but untidy and opened the door. A broken handbrake made negotiating the barrel impossible for Reeves, and Pedder slipped in for his first power stage win. Alan Rowe belted the rest of the field back, cementing himself and Steve Glennie into third for the bonus point before the rally began.
What a beautiful day it's been here in Busselton, Western Australia. This morning the Armour All Power stage has been run and won. Now we're about to start the 30th anniversary of the Quit Forest Rally. But sadly, we are missing one competitor. Current Australian Rally champion Eli Evans and Glenn Weston. They've been unable to get their car to the start line, but they have taken up an offer that they've been given to run in the European scene, a rally in Estonia. And I tell you what, we wish them all the best. For us, the rally begins here tonight with a special stage around the tarmac. Tomorrow, they head east to Nannup and 200 kilometres of forest racing over 2 days. Two guys that will be fighting it out will be Brendan Reeves and Scott Pedder. It's going to be plenty of action here for the 30th anniversary.
Barnard Park on the town foreshore is picture perfect as the sun dips behind the Busselton jetty. The flag's about to drop for the start of round two. Scott Pedder knows what's required to win.
Just same as today, just a nice smooth run, and obviously, you know, it's important to try and pick up some time around here because I think tomorrow's going to be a close battle.
And that battle is with Brendan Reeves, who's back with a new handbrake in the Mazda 2.
Yeah, we bent that one though as well, just then on the warm-up, so we won't use that, but no, we were happy with second, that was good, I better go.
Brendo starts 20 seconds after Pedder. He's 0.9 behind after the first pass. Sean Keating is the big surprise. Rear-drive cars don't usually feature well here, but a local has pushed the Citroens back to claim third. Tony Sullins is the lead Citroen, much happier with his suspension. Now he's reverted to the gravel setup.
Well, it's a tarmac stage, and we had tarmac suspension that the cars come with, so, you know, 1-on-1 didn't quite add up to 2, but that was the motivation behind it.
Second pass, Alan Rowe leapfrogs Sullins to grab third, proving his morning performance was no fluke. Reeves gets closer to Pedder, but is still 0.2 off, and he and Rhiannon settle for second as the teams head to Park for May for the night.
120, brake early, turn square left, wide exit.
Contrary to popular belief, the sun does rise over water in the west, if you're in Geograph Bay. And that's where competition in the East Coast Bullbars Australian Rally Championship is coming from. After the regulatory issues surrounding VWs, Mick Patton is just pleased to be here with the Repco Polo and now feels he's a fighting chance.
Good. We've had a long 3 weeks after Canberra, talking with Cams and Arcom and trying to get a solution for us. I must admit they've been really, really good with it. We've had a long sort of process. But yeah, the boys are here, the car's here, and everything's going great so far, so really looking forward to getting out there this afternoon.
The Polo no longer has the fuel restrictor, but there is a downside.
We've gone to a weight penalty. We've had to put about 90 kilograms into the car, but as you said, we've got rid of the restrictor, so a lot easier for us to get some power there. We tested on Wednesday and it felt quite good. A couple of little bits and pieces we've got to be cautious of, just with the actual little bit more load, braking zones and all that sort of stuff, but it's just a matter of this morning, get out there, see what the roads are like, drive accordingly, and then just have some fun and get the car working how we want it to.
70 kilometres east in Nannup, cars have regrouped, ready for the restart. The traditional opening gravel stages have changed, but the slippery surface remains.
I love this rally. I think it's one of the best. It's a real driver's event, very, very technical, particularly the Ferndale sort of switched around backwards and we're going pretty much downhill now. That's going to be a doozy of a stage, so really looking forward to it. I always love coming over the west.
Yeah, I think Scott will certainly be testing out the road conditions this morning, being first car. The first stage got a lot of downhill and then similar amounts of uphill as well. It's only 6 kilometres, but that's really going to be a test stage for us in the cars, just getting the feeling of the gravel again, because last night and also the power stage was all on tarmac. The cars feel quite grippy and good under brakes. Now we're going to be on loose ball bearing surface with a bit of moisture in the road, so it's going to be interesting, but on a good clean run for this first stage, that's for sure.
3,
Let the competition begin.
1, go 35 right, into...
SS3 Koala uses the same roads as Kinky has in the past. With a directional change, only the surface will be similar, and that is still slippery no matter which direction, especially if you're first car on the road.
Flat 7 left opens up.
Reeves has the advantage of seeing the marks left in the gravel from Pedder and knowing how well he is driving. The Mazda 2 is tidy, but Pedder is still faster, almost 3/4 of a second per kilometre.
Then 7 right, tighten 6.
Both Reeves and Pedder show the remainder of the field a clean set of heels.
Left 5, 50.
Tony Sullins is the next best in the Citroen, quicker than his teammate by 7 seconds.
Brake crest, immediate turn right 4, brake crest, immediate turn right 4.
Adrian Coppin and Tim Batten struggle with the ball-bearing surface.
Flying finish, right 5.5, 100 stop. Wow. What? Slippery. Yeah.
They leave the door open for 3 cars. Alan Rowe, Mick Patton, and WA entrant Raz Vlad in the Ford Fiesta. Vlad is just 2.2 seconds behind Sullins in the older model Ford Fiesta, turning on an excellent display of committed driving to stay with the main field. Alan Rowe is 0.2 behind, another good performance for his first time on the unfamiliar road surface.
100 it comes, 9 hold, well 7 right.
Mick Patton is 6th, but well pleased with the VW's time, despite carrying the equivalent extra weight of a third person.
You showed test pattern a thing or two, didn't you? Well done.
That coded compliment from Bernie Webb refers to him carrying over his good performance at testing earlier in the week into the opening stage. By name, Ferndale is the same as 2014. By stage, it's quite different, using several alternate roads in the forest. The Walkinshaw Performance Renault is not tidy through 4. Pedder doesn't have the car as well balanced and is making mistakes. Next on the road is Reeves. He has his own issues. The downhill sectors are putting pressure on his brakes and they're getting hot. With 10 kilometres to run, the telltale signs of the car in front becoming untidy are evident, and Reeves neatens up his own driving style in the hope of gaining the advantage. It works, but only just. After 28 kilometres of racing, the Mazda edges out the Renault by just 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, he obviously had a really good run. It was surprising. I thought that was the sort of stage we pegged as maybe a bit more 5 or 10 second lead, but he had a good run and we had a few issues at wrong junctions and things, but yeah, so we're now in a scrap, which I probably didn't want.
0.5 plus and short left 5.5, 100.
The Citroens are neck and neck, separated by less than a second. Tony Sullins handling the loose surface, but thankful they don't puncture mid-stage.
Oh, wow, where'd that come from? Don't know, hug left 5.
Adrian Coppin is struggling in the other DS3.
Look, I think I just like to drive it very neat, straight and not big slides, and the car doesn't move around a lot normally. The other event when it's good grip, but because this ball bearing surface here, the car's constantly moving, and it's just something I'm not comfortable with doing, and I just need to get my head into the right space to do it. So just got to work on it, and it's the second time to this event ever, so we'll just keep trying to build the confidence.
No problem with confidence for Sean Keating. With nothing to prove, he's comfortable on his local roads, but changes in direction can breed complacency. Keating and Caleb Ash continue with bent rear suspension and steering.
Early 7 right over brow, just early 7 over brow, straight 200 down.
Mick Patton is full of confidence, the Repco Polo covering the stage comfortably without issue.
Find someone to pull over.
It's going up, set the bomb off.
Alan Rowe is next on the road, but the rally safe gives the all clear, and with OK boards displayed, they press on.
Just short, 1 right, don't cut.
Further into stage, Raz Vlad discovers he has incorrectly noted the same corner that was Sean Keating's undoing.
Long 2 right. Oh, shit! Oh, my back.
The Dayco Focus is first on the scene. Vlad's co-driver is complaining of back pain and no chances are taken. The stage is downgraded and the first intervention vehicle is dispatched for a precautionary check on the condition of Damien Nicoli. With the stage closed early, Patton's crew can retrieve the stricken VW.
It looks like thermofans collapsed or something's happened to it. It started melting wire, and next thing we knew we were on fire, flames coming up out over the top of the bonnet, and pulled over. Luckily enough we got the extinguishers out and everything worked perfectly, and we put it out in good space of times.
Disappointment for Patton with the Repco Polo out for the rest of the weekend. The East Coast Bullbars Australian Rally Championship continues in just a few moments.
There's a huge difference to the tyres we run here in the East Coast Bullbars Australian Rally Championship compared to the tyres you might drive at home. We've got an example here of a road-going Kumo and a rally Kumo. They're exactly the same size, but how different are they? Despite the obvious appearance of the chunkier tread on the top, would you believe the rally tyre is actually 12 kilos, 4 kilos heavier than the road version? One of the reasons why, we need to keep these tyres puncture resistant, and a lot of that comes down to this sidewall. Look at the ribs on the top, the thickness in the sidewall, as opposed to what we would have on the road-going version. On your road car, you're not going through the rigours and punishing your tyres as much. One of the advantages for you at home, though, is the lessons we learn from these tyres, the engineers adapt to give you the best road tyre they can.
Right now, competitors are looking for every bit of grip they can on the ball bearing surface that is unique to Western Australia. Scott Pedder is lapping it up, the Walkinshaw Renault making good time over the ground to extend his lead. This is Pedder's favourite stage in the ARC, and he finishes 1 second a K quicker than Reeves. Brendan finds himself with plenty of wheel spin. Adding to that, the brakes get hot again and he is forced to drive cleaner and neater. Tony Sullen suffers a left rear puncture through SS5 and slows accordingly. As it turns out, the Kumo isn't flat, but the handling is not inspiring confidence. SS6 is not for the faint-hearted. The road sweeps through the trees at Healthway, leaving no room for error. Again, Scott Pedder leads the way, 7 seconds clear of Brendan Reeves.
8 left in on crest, medium loose.
It's a clear run for Reeves, but these are Pedder's stages.
Yeah, I love those stages. Obviously, Alice is probably my favourite stage of the whole championship. I haven't been beaten in there very often, and I don't like getting beaten in there. So, and obviously, Healthway is just a blast. It's just super, super fast with some big cuts in there and that sort of thing. So, yeah, we've been able to pull a bit of a lead, which is good.
Things are not quite so relaxed in the rally school camp. The engine in the Mazda 2 doesn't sound right.
Sounds like a timing chain guide or tensioner may have gone because there's a big tick now in the motor. Scott's clean in front now, and there's 2 forest stages and 2 super specials, and then the heat's over. So it's much smarter, I think, just to keep where we are and save our motor.
The decision is therefore to stay on old tyres. If he's not pushing hard, Brendo is better to bank a fresh set of Kumos for Heat 2. Second pass, as expected, is quicker, but he and Rhiannon drop less time to Pedder and Moscott, despite the engine and tyres. The number 4 Citroen is lucky through the repeat of Koala. With unresolved suspension issues, Tony Sullens misjudges his braking point and overshoots.
50. Stall, don't stall.
It's enough to let his teammate in, who's made some setup changes to his Citroen.
We went a little bit softer in the setup, which, you know, I feel more comfortable in the car. The confidence came back, and I think it's still going to come. So I'm pretty keen to get into these next couple now. It's a bit of a sweat road and see how we go.
With regained confidence, Coppin and Tim Batten are third fastest over the 6K stage. Rowan Glennie grabbed fourth, half a second a K behind in the Focus. Pedder and Moscott push harder through the repeat, but only pull 5 seconds off their previous time over the swept road. Mysteriously, the noise in the rally school Mazda disappears, so Reeves and Gelsomino attack, but the now well-used medium Kumos make the car skatey on the road surface. The split between the top 2 cars is exactly the same as the first run, only this time, after 28 kilometres, Pedder is up by 0.3.
Then 8 left medium, tightens 4. Opens.
Sullens and Barclay are next on the road and still unhappy with the Citroen's handling.
To left 6 minus 50, to care, right 5 narrows, little tightens, right 5 narrows, little tightens, 100.
I've got 4.5 here. To right 4.5, tightens 80.
Their teammate is a massive 20 seconds faster.
150.
5 right and 6 left, 5 here.
Rowe and Glennie are the biggest improvers, knocking a second a K off their previous pass.
Up the top is 3 left short, don't. 3 short, don't, 40.
2 short super special stages around Nannup Oval will hardly affect the result. Scott Pedder and Dale Moscott bank their first heat win for the season.
They're real drivers' roads. The surface makes it just so much fun and really big slides, and but you've really got to be on the right line. If you're off the line, you know, sometimes you don't come back.
It's certainly not a lost cause for Brendan Reeves, though.
We're still winning the championship, so that's great. Second outright heat points today, and with what wasn't looking great going out before the last service, has turned out really well. The car did a good job. We almost bet Scott on the long stage. It was 0.2 in it, so that's pretty incredible over 28 Ks.
The fight is on between Pedder and Reeves, with the advantage falling in favour of Renault. The Citroens have grabbed 3rd and 4th, while the Focus rounds out the 5. Heat 2 is 2 hours and 60 kilometres away, back on the coast at Busselton. And it was there earlier in the week that 2 former champions of the surf experienced thrills of a very different kind.
Mark Richards, this is a bit different for you, mate. You're literally a duck out of water.
I am. I'm a little bit apprehensive, but I'm also very excited. It's a lot different to being in the water surfing, and I've always loved watching motorsport, and I've never had an opportunity to get in a car with a professional driver and sort of do a hot lap.
Look, I'm just absolutely honoured to be here, and yeah, I'm going to be excited when I get into that corner with Scott, because I know he can drive.
Fun yet? Oh, insane. It's the most amazing thing I've ever done. Wow. Nice. Right, man. That was full time. Good. Hey, thanks.
That was up. That's the most amazing thing I've ever done. Yeah.
I'm going to get on the back of the surfboard next. It's your turn.
We'll tow you in a big one.
Right, no.
Jet ski.
Heat 2 of the East Coast Bullbars Australian Rally Championship continues shortly. Coming up next, Cody Crocker is about to pit his brand new Polaris RZR 1000 against the Can-Am Maverick. See how that goes right after this. Back to the East Coast Bullbars Australian Rally Championship at the 30th anniversary of the Quet Forest Rally. This is the longest continuous event in the country, and something the state of Western Australia can rightly be proud of. For years it was the home of Rally Australia, hosting the WRC, and it's on those roads that Cody Crocker and Michael Guest line up to do battle in the Australian Side-by-Side Challenge. Now in its 3rd season, the unusual form of motorsport has seesawed between Polaris and Can-Am. Early on, Cody Crocker dominated in his RZR 900. Michael Guest fought to stay in touch on his then slightly less sophisticated Can-Am Commander 1000. A season on, and the well-specced Can-Am Maverick elevated Guest to the top spot with solid wins over Polaris. All that, though, was set to be challenged as Polaris launched its latest weapon, the RZR 1000.
So it's up 100cc from last year, so a bit more power. It's wider, it's longer. Even the fact it's got bigger wheels, I reckon that makes us go faster.
I think we definitely had the wood on the Polaris last year, Coffs Harbour, and certainly again in Victoria. And really, I think it's evened up a bit. They've got a 1000cc engine, so have we, and I'll know more after the first stage, put it that way.
Michael Guest's #1 position on the road was challenged from the get-go. A cracked oxygen sensor in the exhaust made things noisier in the cab and immediately put the Can-Am ambassador on the back foot.
7 right tightens.
The new RZR was good. Despite little testing, Cody Crocker and Greg Folletta had their new machinery on the road and on the money. Well, most of the time.
Sorry.
It hardly stopped them. This machine, built for just such circumstances, simply drove back up onto the road. Driving a similar Maverick, Nathan Shivers stayed in touch with Guest, but couldn't match his experience on the rally roads. Guest's Maverick never got to challenge the Polaris. Through the repeat of Koala, the right rear outer CV joint broke and became a less than ideal 3-wheel drive. Nathan Shivers pounced through the longer SS8, grabbing second.
9 right 50, turn 8 left clip.
But it was Crocker who was forced to eat the Can-Am's dust, getting within 20 seconds of Guest on the long stage. Service wouldn't come quick enough for the yellow team.
Crest and 9 left.
2 other RZRs had invitational berths in the series this round. Alan Grier and Darren Busby were using this rally as a shakedown for the up-and-coming Australian Safari.
I come from quad bike riding, and I'm getting a bit older and need to have something around me because I need to get up every day to go to work, and this was the ideal next step. So somebody said it was cheap form of motorsport.
Driving the new Razor 1000 like Cody Crocker, Breyer's times were not even close to the Polaris Ambassador, but with a payload designed for the Safari, that was hardly surprising.
We have to carry 10 litres of water. We need to be able to do minimum 250 kilometres in Safari, and you need to have tools and spare tyres. In ARC, you only need to have one spare wheel. Spare wheel's another 26 kilos, so you know, a lot of extra weight involved.
The other invitational, Dylan Manier, was in the older model Polaris 900. Another convert to side-by-side, Manier was motivated by his family.
I used to ride two-wheelers, and I've done a couple of desert races on a two-wheeler, and I've got 3 kids, and so I got to the stage where I thought a cage was a bit safer, and I went for a drive in actually a Can-Am and quite enjoyed it, and that's where the passion come from, yeah.
As a measure of the potential of side-by-sides, Cody Crocker's times in Heat 1 were either first or second when placed amongst the state competitors not running in the four-wheel drive National Series.
Awesome. We weren't looking at those times, but it's always good to go and reflect on them. But geez, yeah, because we can push this thing on really hard, and especially in the rough stuff, I think that's where we can make some real time up and just flat out everywhere. It's just not backing off for anything, which is awesome fun.
Caution, slow 8 left in, 40, turn 4 left, room.
Fun or not, Crocker was racing for keeps and had his moments.
100. Jesus Christ.
Still, he kept his nose in front of Michael Guest.
Left. Oh, I had that.
We evened up pretty well last year, and yeah, we absolutely had the wood on the boys there last year. I think Cody will admit that. Coffs Harbour, we won the World Championship round. We were way quicker in Melbourne, and then they've got their new car, and then we've got to come back up again, you know, and that's just how it is. And so we've got much bigger tyres, wheels, and brakes that we can use, and that will make a big difference to us.
The Polaris domination continued into Heat 2, but the Can-Am defence was weakened when Nathan Shivers dropped a wheel in a huge rut and tipped his Maverick on its side. Unlike the four-wheel drives that hit the same hole, the father-son duo simply rolled the machine back on its feet and continued on to claim third for the weekend. Polaris clearly on the top position, podium for the opening round of the side-by-side challenge. But all that could change when the Can-Am Go Fast mods are fitted for next round.
Hi there, I'm Dale Moscott from the Walkinshaw Performance Rally Team. Thought I'd give you guys at home a little bit of an insight into what we do as a co-driver in the rally team.
Brake, crest 35 right.
So the pace notes are a very important part of my role as a co-driver. I've got a little book here which has got what you'd probably see as shorthand in it, and it's our little description of what we see in the stage and how we're going to attack that stage. So first and foremost it's safety, and it's also speed that we're trying to extract out of the car and ourselves as a crew. So in rallying, what we have is we have a reconnaissance before the event, and what we do there is 2 times we can go out and drive over those stages in a normal road car at normal road speed, and that's for us to have a look at the road and basically form a description that we think is going to get us through those stages. So the driver's calling out exactly what they think and what they need to know to attack that stage during the rally. My job as a co-driver is to write that down. So it is a bit of a different language. Everybody will describe the road differently and see the road differently. So it's my job as a co-driver basically to recite back to the driver exactly how they saw the road in the recce.
And 3 right over gutter, tarmac.
Our second pass of the recce we drive through again at road speed. I call back to him exactly what we need to know as we go through, maybe some small little alterations. Next time we hit the road he's in the rally with the helmets on at full speed.
Thank you very much. All right. Thanks for your help. See you on Saturday.
The other little thing we do as a co-driver, I guess you could probably call us like a receptionist. We have a little time card here. It's like our little Bible during the event. Obviously blocking off roads and all the sorts of things that we need to do in a rally. We have to stick to very strict time schedules, so that's my role within the team to make sure we're running as per schedule. And probably a little bit of driver management as well, trying to take some stress away from your driver and make sure that they can focus on all the things they need to drive fast. So a little insight into what we do as a co-driver.
There you have it. Coming up next, all the action from the final heat of the East Coast Bullbars Australian Rally Championship from the Quit Forest Rally in WA. watching the East Coast Bullbars Australian Rally Championship from the Quit Forest Rally. As the sun sinks in the west, so too are Brendan Reeves' chances of starting Heat 2.
The alternator lead from the battery is broken, so we don't have a lot of power, so we're just going to run last ARC and try and get through this stage.
Under the rules, Reeves is not allowed outside help between service, so the Rally School Mazda needs to get through the stage, into Park for May overnight, and then travel 70 kilometres to Nannup for service in the morning, hopefully before the electrical system shuts down completely.
The way it's set up, it slowly sets things off of importance, so the windows, power steering slowly doesn't work.
Without his main rival, Scott Pedder opens the account in favour of the Walkinshaw Racing Renault. Turning the tables on his previous heat performance here, Tony Sullins is second fastest, with Alan Rowe's Dayco Focus third. For safety reasons, organisers run Reeves on his own at the back of the field, but now the light's all but gone. To save what power the car has left, he and Rhiannon run without any battery-sourced lights. He still finishes in front of Adrian Coppin and is only 10 seconds behind Scott Pedder as the cars are parked up for the second night. It's not the early morning fog that's slowing the traffic into Nannup. It's the Rally School Mazda. As predicted, the Mazda slowly shuts down the electrics in the car. The critical point will be the electric pump feeding fuel to the engine. And it just makes it to regroup.
It just shut the fuel pump down, so yeah, we got here just in enough time.
As Dale Moscott mentioned, the co-driver's job is to ensure cars check in and out of control points on time. Rhiannon must manage this, working out how long it will take to push the car there.
You can't help.
Nope, nobody touches it.
They cannot accept any outside help, so the siblings push the Mazda the last 400 metres to the check-in control.
Yeah, there'd be no volts left. But Polly's just there with a battery. We need to get to there.
It's a hell of a way to start the day.
Good workout.
With the car in service, it's a relatively straightforward task to repair, so the competition can continue for Heat 2. For Scott Pedder, this is about consolidation.
We've obviously got enough stage wins now to cruise to second, cruise to second to win the rally. But obviously, you know, our aim is to win the heat and try and win as many points. You know, the key to winning championships, I'm told by the Neil Bateses of the world, is to push on when the car's feeling well and try and bag points. And when you're struggling, both the car or yourself, you know, just consolidate and just make sure you get home.
His adversary is not fazed by the early setback.
Look, we looked over the stages last night. They look like they're a lot of fun. There's a bit of fog out there. Scotty will be sweeping the road, a few skippies out there hopefully to scare off. And look, he'll be thinking that he's got a clear lead, but we know we've got a good fight on today.
Over in the Citroen camp, Tony Sullins' handling issue with his car has been resolved.
The left-hand rear strut lost gas, and that was it. So I'm happy we found it, could put it back together, and it's good.
An early coffee has Adrian Coppin in good spirits.
I just need a bit of a caffeine hit to wake up and get organised for the day. But no, look, feeling pretty good. Just going to go in that first one and settle in 20 k's. So just get a feel for the car again, and you know it's another 10 k's extra distance than yesterday. So we can find that formal ring yesterday afternoon early. It should be a good day.
Another good performance from the Ford Focus last night has left Alan Rowe in high spirits.
I was a bit surprised because we made quite a few mistakes out there, but anyway, the result was good. So yeah, we'll give it another go today in the dirt and see if we can keep on the road and keep building with what we're doing.
No kangaroos for Walkinshaw Performance to contend with, but the sun is rising over the hills and is often head-on. If the dust from Pedder compounds Brendan Reeves' drive, then breaking the left side window only makes things worse when the Rally School Mazda jags a steel post at the roadside.
6 rough, narrow, 50.
The result sees the team drop 12 seconds to Pedder and Moscott, but after the effort to stay in the race, they are well enough pleased.
Dust will kill us.
Oh dear. Shocking.
Bit up here, isn't it?
With strut re-gassed, Tony Sullins has found form and confidence, quicker by 7 seconds over his teammate across the 19 kilometres.
50 left 6 on crest.
Adrian Coppin's caffeine hit obviously didn't give him the boost he needed.
Left 6 on the crest here. Into slow left 5 becomes turn right 2. Slow left 5 becomes turn right 2.
Double crest 10 right.
Also not running to script are Rowe and Glennie. Distracted, dealing with humidity on the screen.
8 right long over crest. Well, we're right. We're right. No, just the heat. Let's just get to the end, not far to go, right?
They are still on the road though, and that counts. Pedder and Moscott dominate the next stage, Folly, and it's not just the trees they must watch out for.
Break crest 50, late. Turn 2 left. Just watch that Roo doesn't come down this straight. Yep, 8 left on crest.
Brendan Reeves is 3 seconds behind. With the chances of making up the early deficit diminishing, he and Rhiannon settle down and concentrate on the big picture, the championship.
Then into a left 4.5.
The number 4 Citroen has a moment through SS13.
4.5. Oh, left 4.5. Oh, right 4.5. 15.
It's enough to let Coppen in, a stage win over his teammate by 0.5. Sean Keating's Heat 2 has been shaped by the events of yesterday.
It's really made me back off today and drive smooth and just listen to the notes and don't put a foot wrong. That's what my aim was this morning. It's like, okay, let's just bring it home and stay in front of the state boys. Obviously not as fast as the ARC boys, but we'll just do a steady pace behind them and bring it home.
Rally School's Mazda 2 has been reshod with the harder compound Kumo for the run through Healthway Loop.
60, 10 left sharp jump, 30, 10 left sharp jump, 30, 8 left straight crest, 40.
The star over the Walkinshaw Racing team might be slipping. The clutch in the Renault has failed and Pedder is forced to manage gear changes without it. Starting and stopping is becoming the critical issue.
Okay. Now all the way back to first gear, probably 50 metres before, just to make sure you can get it.
Will the pendulum swing back in favour of Brendan Reeves and Rhiannon Gelsolino? Find out after the break. SS15 Ellis is Scott Pedder's favourite stage in the East Coast Bullbars Australian Rally Championship. But today, in the Quit Forest Rally, he might be thinking otherwise.
Go. Crest 50.
7 plus left.
Brendan Reeves starts 2 minutes behind. The stage has been well swept and is fast. Reeves is happier with the setup of the car and it shows on the leaderboard. 11 minutes 28.7, 30 seconds faster than his pass in Heat 1. Even without a clutch though, Pedder is quicker by the narrowest of margins, 0.2. Importantly, another stage win under his belt.
It doesn't seem to be affecting our times. We're having a pretty good run.
Only 4 more starts off the key stand between Pedder and his first rally win in the two-wheel drive championship.
Why are they pushing? Because
There's often a game changer in rally, and this round it's SS16, the repeat of Brockman.
Do we go round? We go round?
The starter in the Walkinshaw Renault gives up, and with no outside assistance allowed, Pedder and Moscott are forced to move aside for the rest of the field. Brendan Reeves takes command. Unless Scott Pedder can start within the late time allowed, he'll surrender the lead to the Rally School Mazda 2.
50.
Tony Sullins jumps Coppen to take second in stage and the heat with a determined drive.
Right 5.5 and left 5.5. Short right 5.5 and left 5 plus. Sorry, very long.
At service, Renault is in for a rapid repair.
We were running it off the key for the last 2 stages and probably did, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 starts on the key and had 1 more to go and the starter motor's gone. So just absolutely unbelievable.
Shame for Scott, they've driven well all day. But look, we've had our problems today as well, so we've just kept pushing on. We did hit a big rock in that Brockman stage, or not a rock, a big rut, that must have built up and dug out from the previous run. But the car held together, which was nice. And we've just been having a clean run through those 3 stages. We ran the hard tyre on the front, that worked well, the car seemed to like it, so we're going to go on the hards again this afternoon.
Using all his late time, Pedder does rejoin to salvage what he can from the heat. Hardly surprising his time is 10 seconds quicker than Reeves. Sean Keating is no threat to the registered ARC entrance, but he increases pace to stay ahead of the state competition. Another big stage win for the Renault. 2 seconds a kilometre faster through Folly 2. But Reeves has no intention of risking the Mazda's lead for stage wins.
Right 5 plus.
Sullins is the quicker of the Citroens.
Right 5 plus. And left 5.5 over crest. 50. Left 5 don't cut logs. Left 5 don't cut logs.
7 mid, opens.
And Rowe is slowed near the end of the final stage, Uranium.
And 7 right. Oh, stay on it. Fire. Keep going.
No problems for Brendan Reeves and Rhiannon Gelsomino in the final stage. Theirs might not be the fastest time through SS19, but it is all they need to secure the heat and rally win.
Yeah, finished on a pretty big high though. We're pretty excited with that. We win the rally, so that's 2 in a row. A great feeling, good for the sponsors, MCA, the suspension, Mazda, all the supporters, and the rally school boys back at service did a great job.
Tony Sullins is second for the heat, 12 seconds in front of Adrian Coppin, while Alan Rowe is 4th. Sean Keating rounds out the Heat 2 top 5. The Kumho Tyre Spirit of the Rally Award goes to a man behind the scenes rather than behind the wheel. Event director Ross Tapper has been at the helm of the Quick Forest Rally for nearly 3 decades and deservedly accepts this special award. Brendan Reeves collects 74 points from the 2-heat weekend. Scott Pedder, 61, including the bonus point for most stage wins, with Team Citroen on 60 apiece and Alan Rowe on 48. Amazingly, under the rules, those points enable Scott Pedder to take 2nd spot on the weekend podium, while Adrian Coppin leapfrogs his teammate for 3rd on a countback of total time over the weekend. In championship terms, though, the heat points have Brendan Reeves extending his lead over Scott Pedder. Adrian Coppin is 3rd, with Tony Sullins and Alan Rowe 4th and 5th respectively. When the sun sets on the Quick Forest Rally tonight, the East Coast Bullbars Australian Rally Championship won't see it again until the International Rally of Queensland in 2 months' time, across the country on the Sunshine Coast. And that's where we'll see you next. Bye for now.
Today's coverage is made possible by Kumho Tyre, Pedder Suspension, Armor All, Co Tyre, Can-Am, Polaris, High-Tech Oils, and our supporting partner East Coast Bullbars, world's best alloy bull bars.